So the next thing that it's kind of been on my mind now, in order to segue into the bigger subject I eventually want to talk about, were you able to watch The Boy and the Heron?
No,
Yeah, same.
unfortunate.
I would love to have
Unfortunately.
been able to talk about that, but neither of us have seen it. But what
um,
I do, did you hear much about it?
my sister went and saw it. I didn't hear a lot from her on it, other than that
Hmm.
she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um, and that it was supposed to be Miyazaki's last film, but pretty much right after it released, he came back with another script.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
And after,
I'm gonna have to look into that movie.
yeah, after seeing all the nominees for best animated feature, I was betting very hard on Across the Spider-Verse.
Hmm.
Uh, but I did tell my friends, I said, if any movie is going to beat Across the Spider-Verse, it'll only be The Boy and the Heron. It's not going to be Elemental. Heck no. It's not going to be Nimona, though it could have like a cult following who would want that one to beat it. Who's heard of Robot Dreams? I don't know. Yeah, but
Right.
I said if any of the movies are going to beat it, it's going to be The Boy and the Heron.
I mean, yeah, Hayao Miyazaki is kind of just throwing things at the Oscars, waiting for something to happen in that sense sometimes. Um, I mean, he won in 2001 for Spirited Away, right?
Two, yeah.
Okay, 2000. That right, yeah, yeah, year later. But one thing that I'd love to get your take on, because I've been thinking about the topic of animation generally speaking, and
Mhm.
I feel like there's a sense in the American culture of what animation ought to be that other cultures don't really embrace. Um, it seems almost two extremes on a spectrum. It either has to be for children or really intense adult
Or
stuff.
adult
Yeah, exactly. Like
that
either
children
really
should
bad
not watch.
comedy, sometimes funny, but or just extremely gruesome type comedy attempting to base itself off anime. I've seen some better done than others, but I would love to hear your take on that.
Yes, yeah. So I agree that a lot of the Western takes on animation just don't have the same the same sense of appreciation for it as a powerful medium as especially Eastern like Japan and China and things. Or well, I don't know so much about China, but definitely Japan. um Now some anime in Japan is garbage, some is like it, but some live action sitcoms in Western countries are just garbage. And then some shows in Western, some Western live action shows or whatever are masterpieces, and some anime works are masterpieces. And it's just animation. And then the signature anime of Japan is like it's a medium. It's a medium. Like I've known people who would watch anime just because it was anime.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, they'd say, "Oh yeah, that one wasn't very good," or "That one was really good." But then they would say, "What's the next anime I'm going to watch?" Instead of like, "What's the next show I'm going to watch?" That happens to
Yeah.
be that happens to be an anime. I've watched a few animes in their entirety, and I'm watching one right now. But when I'm looking for a show to watch, I kind of include animes with other shows, like live action or Western animated or whatever, based on, does it look interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Like is the plot something I'm gonna like? No, I also ask the question, like, does the animation look, is it eye catching? Is it interesting? Is it something I'm going to enjoy looking at? And that's one reason I haven't like gotten really behind Rick and Morty or something like that is like a lot of a lot of Western animated series, especially like the Western, like the adult animated series or whatever. It's like they, yeah, they have good scripts or plots or whatever, but the thing is, with animation, you want it to look nice too. Otherwise, you might lose a lot of people. With live action, that's why you that's why a lot of people hire stars who are really good looking is because like
Exactly. Yeah.
if you're watching
Beauty
something,
sells.
right, exactly. If you're watching something, you want to enjoy watching it.
Hmm.
Like now, if there's something really important about a hard thing to see, like Schindler's List comes to mind, it's like the visuals aren't pretty. They
Hmm.
are not fun to look at, but there's something important behind it.
There's still an
And it's
artistic
not
visual appeal still
right,
there. Yeah.
right. And Schindler's List isn't something I just feel like I want to watch now and then and be like, oh yeah, that's a good movie. Let's watch Schindler's List. You know, I'm with my college buddies and we just finished a final and we're like, hey guys, we should go watch something in the dorm room. Yeah, Schindler's List. Let's go. Yeah, that's
Some people
uh,
would think of you as psychopaths. Yeah.
right. That's not something that's not something I'm doing, but with something like Rick and Morty or a lot of the other adult animated shows from the West, it's like
Hmm.
maybe they have something to say. Now, Rick and Morty is also pretty like nihilistic and full of things that I don't agree with and don't enjoy, and so I haven't been fond of what I saw and have not continued it. But it's also pretty ugly.
Yeah, exactly. I've never cared for that kind of animation. A lot of um the Adult Swim, Cartoon Network type stuff
Mhm.
haven't really appealed to the visual senses in that sense. They haven't taken advantage of the art style of animation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoyed to a degree. I quite enjoyed Cartoon Network's Over the Garden Wall
Oh, that was awesome.
and
Yeah.
Disney's Gravity Falls. I thought, despite the somewhat weird animation for both of those, I found them both very engaging, funny, and thought provoking or scary at times. And I thought it was all I thought they were both very good. But with the and those shows I think are the ones that respect animation as a medium.
Yeah.
Those are the shows that uh kind of tackle heavy plot, um, but add the comedy. There's both comedy for children and adults there's comedy for children and adults in those shows. Um, and but it doesn't uh ostracize children,
Hmm.
which thing a lot of the Adult Swim stuff does. They're making ugly animation for adults that only adults should be watching because of the content material in it.
If should could even be
Um,
used.
right, if it could be used, maybe there's value in some of it. But when you look at Miyazaki and the Studio Ghibli films, um, most of them have something for everybody. Now, to be honest, I'm not a personal fan of quite a few of them. I don't really dislike any of them, but the only ones that I've really enjoyed are Grave of Fireflies, which is a tragic film that I I would wait a little bit before showing it to kids because it's not because its content is totally inappropriate, but it's just emotionally very weighty.
Hmm.
Um, I really enjoyed Castle in the Sky, which anyone can watch. It's free of overly objectionable content, and it's not as deep as some of the others, but it's fun and interesting, and
Hmm.
it stays that way. And then Kiki's Delivery Service, which has fun animation, and it's a little lighter on plot, but it's a sweet film. And I think that's what a lot of Western animation what gets lost on Western animation is they a lot of the studios think you can't have sweetness without it being for preschoolers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if it's not for preschoolers, it just can't be sweet.
Hmm.
It can't be peaceful or um, heartwarming because that is for children,
Hmm.
and you can't have peaceful and heartwarming for older people. All
Right.
their stuff needs to be doom and gloom. And
And
so I
crass.
crass. And so I think it's tragic that the Oscars kind of relegates animated films to the best animated feature Oscar award. Because when it was before its creation in 2001, animated films were largely relegated to the original song and original score Oscars awards, because even then they didn't really respect them. Now, when Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture in 91,
Yeah, it was 91.
91,
Mm-hmm.
that was that that was a headstone. That was not a headstone, a landmark. It was dramatic, showing, look, animation is a medium like live action to tell good stories.
It's not a genre. Exactly.
It's not a genre. It's a medium for telling good stories. And then right after, just 10 years later, like things like Aladdin in between, and like maybe a couple others were nominated, won Oscars for, again, score and song, because
Mm-hmm.
animation, by the 90s, animated movies were kind of the last ones being musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in the 60s and 70s and whatever, musicals dominated the
They came out like
Oscars.
every other week. Yeah.
Right. They dominated. And then by the time the 90s roll around, musicals were not mature. They were not important. And so animated films were kind of the last ones doing it at that point. And so 10 years later, when they institute the Best Animated Feature Award, it's like, oh, they're actually going to start looking more at animated movies. No, it was just kind of to keep them in their place, because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't think Shrek was good enough for Best Picture, but they wanted to acknowledge Shrek,
Mm-hmm.
which, to be honest, I think Monsters Inc. was better than Shrek. So
Oh, by far.
The fact
Like,
that Shrek won that award, won the very first ever Best Animated Feature award, was, but Shrek was also, I believe, um, nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
adapted.
Yeah, because it was like a Swedish children's book or something.
Oh, okay, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. I believe that's accurate. If my computer. Um. Yeah. It was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Um. And so it was acknowledgement of its writing, which was, I don't think Monsters Inc. was even nominated for Best Original Screenplay, which I thought Monsters Inc. was brilliant. Um, but The Incredibles was in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there was kind of a sense that animated pictures were maybe okay. Yeah, Monsters Inc. only won Best Original Song for If I Didn't Have You. Um, that animated features were maybe getting respect again as a medium. And like Incredibles got nominated for Best Original Screenplay, I think, and things started maybe looking up. But again, an animated movie wasn't nominated for Best Picture until 2009 with Up,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2010. So back-to-back years with an animated feature and Best Picture nomination for Toy Story 3.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the animated movies nominated for Best Picture are great movies. They're all Beauty and the Beast, Up, and Toy Story 3 are all fantastic. But the fact that an animated movie hasn't won a screenplay award, or or because again, they can't be nominated for acting awards.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yeah.
We don't have a voice acting nominate award yet, which wouldn't surprise me if it arrives soon, because I heard they're adding a new award for best ensemble cast, just
Okay.
acknowledging
The
the
whole
or
performance. Yeah.
right. So it's like best casting or something, which is equivalent to the SAG best ensemble award.
Mhm.
Um, which I feel like, as far as awards to add, that doesn't feel like a necessary one.
Yeah.
People are calling for best stunt, or best stunt man or stunt woman, whatever award, which kind of makes sense to me. We got to acknowledge the people who put their lives at risk
Yeah, right.
to make an exciting thing. But with the rise of CGI use in action films, it gets so difficult to really do that. And then I think a voice acting or even motion capture performance award would be I would prioritize both stunt and voice acting before a best casting award. And
Because I mean that really plays into the best acting almost. Uh,
right, right,
yeah.
right. Or if you don't want to add a best voice acting, include voice actors or mocap actors in the best actor award. Like, can you imagine a world without Andy Serkis in a mocap suit?
Right.
Can you imagine what cinema would be without Andy Serkis in a mocap suit?
It would not be the modern day cinema we know.
No, no. Um, and so I think the Academy misprioritizes and misfocuses on things. And you see that at the actual Oscar ceremony. I think it was last year when they had like Halle Bailey and I don't know, Lily James and someone else who were presenting the Best Animated Feature Award. And in their little presenting speech, they were talking about like, oh, yeah, you've all seen all these movies nominated because your kids made you watch them again and again and again. And it was like, it was this little joke, you know how they always have to be funny before presenting the award, like
Right.
John Cena streaking
Oh
for
gosh.
the
It's like, right, we needed that.
I didn't like that, but that's a topic I don't have time for.
Yeah.
My apologies. I actually have to leave earlier than I thought.
Okay. No worries.
But we'll carry on with this thought. Uh, so I think there is a lack of respect for animation as a medium to tell good stories,
Mhm.
because we haven't seen an animated feature nominated for Best Picture in the last 14 years. I believe that's correct. And I don't think we've seen an animated feature nominated for Best Screenplay um, since, mm, I don't know. It's probably not since The Incredibles. There's probably something more recent than that. But but at the same time, oh, okay. It looks like Inside Out might have been nominated for Best. Uh, so there are some of these great movies that get. Oh wow, Toy Story was some of these great movies that get ignored. Um, okay, some more than I thought, but they're all Pixar films except for Shrek. What do you know? But that they're not acknowledged for their stories. They're acknowledged for the cute animation and things like that, or the songs, because they're the only ones that have the guts to be a musical anymore. Um, and I think that's really losing out on a lot of worthwhile material. That the last one nominated for best screenplay was
Yeah.
Inside Out. Now, maybe they're just has there really been any animated movie better than Inside Out since then? I was a personal very big fan of the Mitchells versus the Machines in 2021 or
I
2020.
I personally enjoyed the last Puss in Boots movie.
Oh,
That
that
was
movie was very
not only
good.
visually spectacular, but actually had some really deep things for both the kids and adults. And I think we need to. I think movies need to start thinking more about. At least animated movies need to start thinking more about that. Yeah.
Not to mention the smash successes of the Spider-Verse films.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
uh
Although I will say that I think the second one just tried to be the first one, but more so. Yeah. Does that
I,
make any sense?
maybe that does make sense. I think it was an excellent film that I believe can be retroactively hurt by however the third one pans out.
Because it
There's
ends
some
up yeah, it ends up
well,
being the third act to the second one's first two, you know.
right. So um some films, some middle installments in a trilogy or a series, they can stand still on their own. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't love The Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm.
it was fine. I wasn't a huge fan, but it doesn't retroactively hurt The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight
Right,
still ranks
exactly.
as the best, if one of the best, if not the best superhero film, let alone Batman movie, but superhero
Hmm.
films out there. I love that movie. You know, everyone does. Like, I don't think I'm special by liking that movie, but my personal indifference for The Dark Knight Rises did not hurt The Dark Knight in my eyes. Whereas Across the Spider Verse, um, and in a way, I believe, kind of Dune 2, I think both of those can are good films in their own right. Across the Spider Verse, I think, was very good. Dune 2, I think, was good.
Hmm.
I think both of them can be retroactively hurt by however the third installment goes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. I mean, there's always a few things I would love to be able to talk about, but I know
Yeah.
you probably
I
should be going soon. But
yeah,
thank you so
I
much for
misjudged the time.
it's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much for coming on, Owen. Really appreciate it. You are very knowledgeable about this stuff, and I always love talking to you about all of it. Hopefully, we can have you on the show again soon.
I would love to come back, Joseph. Thank you for having me. I love getting an opportunity to talk about films in any and all capacities. So
Awesome.
glad I
Cool,
could
cool.
share some of my long-winded opinions with you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All
Thank
right.
you.
See you
Have a great
later.
one, Joe.
God bless.
You too, sir.